As Bruce Wayne, I'm flesh and blood. I could be ignored. I could be destroyed. But as a symbol, I could be everlasting, incorruptible. What symbol? Something incorruptible. Something everlasting. Why do we fall, sir? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. It's not what I did. Oh. It's not what I do, but it's what I do that defines me. And I screwed that up. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Batman movie reviews. I'm going to be reviewing each film of the Dark Knight trilogy, and I actually just announced I'm also going to be doing Batman vs. Superman, reviewing all of those films before Suicide Squad. So let's get started with Batman Begins. Batman Begins was a very interesting film because we were at that time where 1997 when Batman and Robin came out. That movie was so bad that nobody took Batman seriously anymore. And when it was announced that Batman Begins would define, people didn't really know whether it was going to be good or whether it was going to be bad. And now we're at that time where everybody sees a Batman film and they automatically think it's got to live up to these standards because thanks to Batman Begins. Batman Begins is easily my favorite origin movie ever made in a comic book film because it took something like what it did and it changed. It brought flashbacks to this certain element, and I love the way it stood. I love the way that it represented. I mean, I love this film. This easily is one of my favorite movies, and it was my favorite film that came out in 2005 because I remember as a kid, I was so upset. I remember watching this movie in theaters, and when the parents died, I was 9 years old, and I cried because I didn't understand it. Years later, I can rewatch this and The Dark Knight like that. Because honestly, I find this trilogy perfect in each and every way. There are flaws, yes, but I'll get into that. What I love about Batman Begins is this is the ultimate story of how Bruce Wayne became Batman. They took elements, they took really great stories, and they took really great characters, and they brought them to this crime-like stage film, and I love that about this movie. Let's talk about Christian Bale, because you all know what I'm going to say. Of all the movies that I think Christian Bale was fantastic in, this one is probably my favorite of his performances. While I will talk about Dark Knight Rises later, I will say I loved the way this movie was. I loved how he was this guy who was grieving about his parents' death. He was trying to find his purpose, and when he becomes Batman, the sympathy that he brings to people and the way he is really just made me feel at home because you understand this is a guy who has problems. This is a man who has flaws. And yet he comes into those standards and becomes his own. You got to mention the stellar class that is in this movie. Michael Caine as Alfred, still in my opinion, my favorite Alfred, even though I love Jeremy Irons. I love Michael Gough. I still think he is the best Alfred on screen. You get more characters with him. Gary Oldman, this was the first film I saw Gary Oldman where I realized he's such a fantastic actor. And him as Jim Gordon is fantastic. Also Morgan Freeman. You can't go wrong with Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox. Everybody in this movie works. Let's talk about Liam Neeson because Liam Neeson has one of the best voices in cinema. You can automatically say you think you need to put a person in some sort of voice and a role with a voice, and you got Liam Neeson. He is absolutely fantastic as Ra's al Ghul and Ducard. But the fight scenes that he brings in the training was so cool. I love the League of Shadows stuff. I love how they didn't just put it in there that he was in the League of Shadows. I love the way this movie is trying to be. I love that it's dark, and I love that it has hard stuff, and you find Bruce's stories. And I love the flashbacks that kind of inspired Deadpool in a way you would say. I love this movie. I love it. Katie Holmes I thought was good as Rachel. I like Maggie Gyllenhaal more. You can say for that. But I love this movie. I think it works as a film. Let's talk about Cillian Murphy because Cillian Murphy is easily one of the most underrated actors of all time. He's easily one of my favorite actors. And in this movie, this is one of his best performances. He is absolutely fantastic as Scarecrow. He is haunting. He is riveting. And the action in this movie handles to a huge thing, and it handles it so great. And it handles it very well. And it really makes sense because you understand the characters. You understand the story. You understand things that you want to. And in this movie, I understood why Bruce Wayne wanted to be Batman. I understood why Ducard wanted to go and destroy Gotham. And I felt like Christopher Nolan handled every single thing in this movie, and he did a good job handling. Now, you can't talk about a Batman movie like this without Hans Zimmer's score. Hans Zimmer's score, I listen to this every single time, mostly all the time when I go to the gym. This is usually the one I listen to. I love the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack is fantastic. This is easily one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. It's so moving and it's so amazing that I love this soundtrack. So yeah, this is the right step into making a great movie. I'm gonna give the movie a 5 out of 5. I love this movie. It is easily my favorite origin story put on film from comic books. And so that's my review of Batman Begins. So I am going to be reviewing each of the Dark Knight trilogy, but I also want to give a little video opinion called Why I Love Batman vs. Superman. I'm going to talk in depth on that. That's going to come out on on Thursday. So what you guys are going to see is on Monday I'll be reviewing The Dark Knight, my favorite film of all time. On Wednesday I'm going to review The Dark Knight Rises, and on Thursday Why I Love Batman vs. Superman, and then on Saturday night I will put my review out for Suicide Squad. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you guys like this, like, share, subscribe with your friends, and have a very good weekend.